What's up, boys and girls? Today we'll be drawing Mew from Pokemon. Feel free to draw along and pause the video whenever you like to catch up with me. So let's take a look at the materials we need for this drawing. We're going to need a pencil, an eraser. I'm using the one at the end of the pencil, running low. Okay, and then we're going to need a black marker. And then we're going to need some crayons for the colors. I've chosen a light blue and a dark blue for the eyes. Okay, and these three colors are for the body. I have a lighter pinkish color for the body. And then another one for the mid-tone. So we see Mew has like a very light pink right here. And then a darker shade, almost like a purple in the shadow. Then Mew has like a darker shadow, which I've chosen even darker purple. Okay, so these are the crayons that we're going to need. I'm also going to use a sticky roller. It makes cleaning up easier and faster. This is optional. If you don't have one at home, that is fine. But this will make cleaning up so much easier. Okay, let's take a look at this example drawing of Mew. Okay, and let's take a look at the general shape and form that we can use to help us create Mew. So let's take a look. So Mew's head is in like an oval shape. So if I draw it on the side, you see Mew's head is kind of like an oval shape. And I'm going to draw the crosshair on this oval sphere that makes up Mew's head. So it reads more like a form instead of just a simple shape. See? Okay, if I draw dotted lines in the back, you see that Mew's head is an oval sphere. And then we have two cones, or triangle shaped, on two corners of the sphere. Then because I'm drawing my cross, now I know approximately where I need to locate the eyes. Okay? And here for the nose or mouth in the bottom. Okay, so that forms Mew's head. Let's take a look at the body. So the body, it's almost like a jelly bean. Okay, so if we draw like an egg-shaped oval for the body, and then connect it to the head. Okay, that's what it looks like. And for the thighs, there are two big ovals. See right here, there's an oval right here, and another oval right here. Now for the arms and feet, I like to imagine them like kind of like hot dogs or sausage links. Or eggplants. They look like long oval shapes, kind of like a hot dog. See, this one's like an eggplant. Just imagine them as shapes. The arms as well. See? And add the fingers. Okay? And the tail is kind of like free form. Okay, it's a big S shape, but it's very free form, just flying in the back of the figure. And the end of the tail is a big oval. Alright, let's take a look at the lighting. So from this example drawing, we can see that the lighting is coming from the top. Because we see shadow here, we see shadow here, here, and all the shadow are from on the bottom of the shape or form. And then we get cast shadow. So this will be a cast shadow, this will be a cast shadow. These two shadows are casted from the thigh, and this shadow is casted from the chin. Okay, so now after studying Mew, okay, our Pokemon, we're gonna start drawing. So I'll put our reference on one side, and I'll start drawing on this piece of paper. Okay, let's start with that oval. So again, if you're not good at drawing round shapes, what I like to do is to draw the four corners of the round shape first. And then the other four corners. And then connect the lines. So now, it becomes easier to do. Okay, I'm going to draw in my cross. So now it reads as an oval sphere instead of just a shape. Okay, now the neck connects, but I'm going to draw that oval egg shape for the body. I'm going to use my pencil real quick to kind of measure how big the body is. Okay, so see, the width of the head is as long as the length of the body. So I'm going to use that. Okay, so it's about right here. Okay, I have my egg shape. I'm going to turn it into like a jelly bean. Almost. Okay, now I have my body. I'm going to put in the thighs. And again, you can always use your pencil and just keep measuring distance to distance, you know. And then if you measure enough, you're going to get a pretty accurate drawing. Okay. There's one thigh. I'm going to add the other one. It's hiding behind the body, the belly, but if you keep drawing, you'll see that it's behind the belly shape. Okay? Alright, so let's draw that foot on the right. Kind of like an eggplant. Eggplant is healthy. Eat eggplant. I like eggplant. Okay, now draw the other foot on this side. Okay, now the arms. And the other side, the arm. Okay, the ears, the two corners. This corner as well. So I'm going to make the cheeks a little bit sharper. That will look more like Mew. The mouth. And then the eyes. Okay, last but not least, the tail, which is just like a free-form S shape. Okay, so now I have the basic shape of Mew. I'm going to work on some details like the fingers. Got 3 fingers here and 3 fingers here. And see, I always draw lightly to begin with, and then slowly, as my lines become more and more definitive, I know which line for sure I'm going to keep. And my lines will slowly get darker and darker. Because now, I'm not afraid to make a mistake. And then, as you make the definitive lines darker and darker, you'll notice that the lines that you're not sure about, they slowly appears to slowly fade away. And you do want to make sure most of your lines are definitive enough, so it makes your tracing a lot easier when we get to it in a moment. Okay, now when you're watching my video, a lot of things you're going to hear me mention over and over and over and again. The reason why is when we're drawing, a lot of times we're just drawing, we're not thinking. So I'd like to remind you over and over again until it kind of becomes second nature to you. Yeah, and eventually you'll probably just mute the video and just draw along because you kind of already know what I was going to say. But before that, just bear with me. I'm going to repeat a lot of the tips and techniques over and over again until you get it really well down your head and it stays with you like second nature. Okay, and then when you're drawing, you're listening to me repeating all these tips and how to draw and stuff. You're wondering like, why does he keep talking about it? Then you look at your drawing, and you realize it's because you're not doing it. Okay, so now I have the basic line work ready. I'm going to grab my marker and trace over it. I can move my reference to the side. Temporarily, I don't need it. Okay, so let's start. Now, before I start, it's one thing I always forget to mention. Pay attention to key areas where shapes overlap. For example, this area, this area, this area, this area, it's all over. The reason why is you see how the line of the belly is cutting into the thigh. This area is not that apparent, but if you see right here, you see how the line of the face is running into the ear. That indicates that the form of the head is in front of the ear. Okay, so you have to be careful. Area like that, see, that's saying the arm is in front of the chest. Okay, so pay attention to those areas when you're tracing. You should be fine. Now, when you trace, feel free to rotate the paper if you can't see something like your hand is in the way. And one thing that is very good to remember is to trace from top to bottom, general rule of thumb, and from left to right, if you're right-handed. The reason why is, in case your marker doesn't dry very fast, like mine dries very fast, But if you're using a marker that does not dry very fast, you can avoid smearing your line work. Something also that's good to do if you know that your marker doesn't dry very fast, because the ones that don't dry very fast tend to bleed through the paper. You might want to have a couple more pieces of paper behind the one that you're drawing so the ink doesn't get on the table. And if you're tracing a very long line, you don't have to finish it all in one stroke. It can be connected with multiple lines. As long as at the end it looks like one continuous line. Kind of like what I'm doing. And when you're tracing with the marker, when you push hard on the marker, on the tip, you'll get a thicker line. And vice versa, if you push down the marker just lightly, your lines will be thinner. So a lot of times when I have little detail areas where I need thinner lines, like the toes on the feet, I would draw it lightly. The lines will be thinner. And this part also requires patience. Because you want to have nice and smooth line work. It also lays down a good foundation for coloring. Okay, so there we have very clean line work. Now I'm going to grab my eraser, back of my pencil, and start erasing all the pencil lines that's left that we can still see after we trace with the marker. Okay, and I'm going to use my sticky roller and clean up the drawing. Awesome. So now we're ready to lay in the colors. So the two major color is the light pink and the light blue. So I'm just going to go ahead and take care of the easy part first, the light blue in the eyes. So if you take a look at the example drawing, you see two white spots in the eyes. That is the reflection from the sun. So we're going to leave those two areas white and not color it in. Okay? So, just the top part of the eye. Color in the blue, the rest of the eye. Okay? And then I'm going to switch to my pink and start laying down first layer of pink. Now the goal here is to color evenly. So you don't have to push down too hard because we're going to throw on another layer of color later on. Okay, so we've finished laying in the first layer of colors. Now let's move on to the shadow. So I'm going to grab the dark blue and add in the darker blue in the eyes. Okay, then I'm going to grab the darker purple, like pinkish purple. I'm going to add in some shadows. So the ear, right here, below the chin, and then cast shadow on the arm. Okay, and then the thigh, the foot, underside of the belly. So now this layer I am pushing down a little bit harder to get the colors on there. Okay, so, and right here. It's part of the tail. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my darker purple and add in the darker shadow, like this part. Okay, and it's part of the tail. Okay. Okay, and then some areas that we already went over the darker pink, I'm gonna go with the darker purple again to blend it, blend it in a little bit. So you can see that this part can be a little bit darker. And add a little bit of purple in that dark pink. Okay, here below the chin. Have fun with it. Okay, cool. Okay, Alright, so now I'm going to use my roller, clean it up again. Okay, now this last step is to punch out some of the thicker outlines with my marker again. Okay? And there we have Mew. Hope you guys like it. Let me know in the comments what you like to draw next.